Welcome everybody, you're listening to Women's Circle, a podcast inspiring women to break through ideas, conditionings and habits to experience a more meaningful life, finding strength in the knowledge and experience of others to wake up their curiosity and inner wisdom. My name's Danielle Baker and I'm a nurse, women's health mentor and founder of a permaculture yoga retreat in France. I am sitting down with passionate experts to talk about simple ways that we can change our life. In these magical women's circles, we'll be bringing the body, mind and spirit into union to tune in to our true selves. Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Women's Circle. We have the wonderful Erika on the show. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Very nice to be here. I'm excited to share with you today.
Yeah, and we're excited to listen as well. So let's just get straight in there. You told me that there was a long history of digestive issues within the family. I want you to just get straight in there. What did you start to notice in yourself, and at what age?
Yeah, for me, it showed up. I would say I started really paying attention to it after the birth of my second child. And for me, it was I felt off, and I couldn't quite explain it. And I would go to the doctors and I would say, I have no energy. I can't barely move off the couch. I just want to sleep all the time. I have no drive, and that's not how I operate. And they would put me on antidepressants and tell me I was a mom and I was postpartum and I was going to college and I was doing all the things. And this was how life was from here on out. And I didn't want to believe them. And I was like, nobody told me this was part of the deal of being a parent. I didn't sign up for this. And so I kept pressing, but it really started with that. I really noticed it after the birth of my second child. And I think I was a little more in tune to trying to listen to my body, because my sister has ulcerative colitis and has since she was 18. And when she was diagnosed, we found out that there was a history of genetic digestive issues in the family for years that nobody talked about. It was all kept under the carpet.
Could you put that into a short summary of what that is?
Yeah, so ulcerative colitis is basically you get polyps and in your intestine, and it bleeds and it doesn't process food very well. And you can have sensitivities to certain foods, and you can also just have general reactions. For extreme cases, hers is not. She's maintaining it with medicine right now, and I would say conventional medicine as we think of it. But some people can control it with diet, and in extreme cases, they have to remove your intestine because it's so sick it can't process foods, right? And so it just really is a disruption to the bowels.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. So as I don't know if you want me to keep going into how I found
going.
out.
Yeah,
okay.
What were the signs? What did you see?
So as time progressed, I couldn't stand being on the antidepressants, and I got off of them because I don't like to treat myself with medicines. And I didn't feel like I was depressed, and I didn't feel a resolution from that. So I ended up, I remember very vividly, I was walking to a job interview, and I was so grateful I was wearing black pants because I was still having things going on. And as I was walking from, it was a mile walk. So as I started the walk, halfway through, I felt this rush of blood down my legs.
Wow.
And I had just gone to the bathroom and taken care of things, but I was bleeding so fast that I couldn't rely on my feminine products to protect me. And from then on out, I was scared every month because my cycles started shortening. So they went from 28 days, which I was a regular steady Eddie from the time I had them, to about 23 days. And they were getting heavier. And again, conventional medicine told me there was nothing they could do for me. I was way too young to have these problems. And they gave me an IUD, which caused me even more issues. It caused me to have weight gain. It caused me to be miserable. It caused me other things that started. So I started having radiating pain through my neck and into my head, where I would get everything that was going on.
But that's normal.
Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, but that was normal. And my headphones just died, so I'm going to switch over. But so I just kept finding these things that were going on and nobody could quite explain it to me. And one day I ended up going to a chiropractor that I found that was more of a naturopath type chiropractor. And they said, hey, we're doing hormone testing. This is something new that we're going to try. And I said, I'm down. Like anything you can tell me about my body, I want to hear what's going on. So they ran the test and they said, you have adrenal fatigue. And I'm like, I don't understand what this is. And they explained it. So adrenal fatigue is when your adrenal glands are these small little organs and they sit above everything, but they're really important in regulating your hormones. So my hormones weren't regulated and I had cortisol spikes that Oh, I hope this is still going. Are you still there?
I'm still there. Are you still here?
I am. Sorry.
Good. We'll just chop that bit out. Don't worry. It's interesting because it's interesting because I get a lot of people asking, do females even have testosterone?
They do, and I had to learn this along the way. And actually, one of the symptoms of having low testosterone is you have no sex drive, because what I learned is the opposite. Women need testosterone to have sex drive and men need estrogen to have sex drive. So when you don't have those opposite hormones, that's what really impacts your drive. It also impacts things. So as time was going on, I was getting more symptoms, and some of those symptoms included incontinence. So I started losing control of my bladder, and I started having to go to the bathroom every few minutes. I'd take a drink and I'd have to go to the bathroom. And I hadn't had a normal bowel movement or period in 8 years.
Jeez.
So all these things were building up. But so I finally had an answer. And when I got to the chiropractor, they were like, we can't help you. You know what's going on? But I don't have
Here's the information.
So it would take me a few more, I'll just say I did some witch doctory things and tried to figure things out before I found a functional medicine doctor. And a functional medicine doctor, for those that are not aware, what they do is they look at you as a whole. So they don't look at the symptoms, they try to treat the root cause. And when I went in, they said, yes, you have adrenal fatigue. Yes, you have low testosterone. Yes, your cortisols are off. But this is because you have leaky gut. And I had never heard of this before. So leaky gut is your intestinal wall is permeable. You're not supposed to have holes in it. And so the food can go right into your bloodstream from your gut, and it can poison your bloodstream. And when that happens, it can cause your adrenals and your body to go into fight or flight, which causes hormone disruptions, so on and so forth.
And is this a common thing?
It is common. It's really common now. And the reason we're seeing it more and more in society, and my daughter had it too. We took her in and she had it as well at 16. She's not 16, but almost, is because here in America, at least, our foods are so processed. And we've stripped our soils, and with our over farming and our over fertilizing, that it's just made our food not as quality as it used to be. And this is our body's response to that.
It makes me so sad just thinking of it.
Right. And you can't help it. And you watch people, and I know now, and I watch them eating at McDonald's, and I want to scream, because those are the things that are making us sick.
Yeah. What about fruit and vegetable that is just not organic? You know, people that think they're doing the best thing, and they're like, I have loads of fruit and vegetables, but the quality of the soil, like you said, and the GMOs and the pesticides, everything that's going into that.
Exactly. It's all of that. And you just have to do the best that you can. You can't be 100% perfect. But I even have learned through this process of things like there's the dirty 13 of vegetables and fruits that you should never eat not organic.
Tell us. I want to know the dirty 13.
I don't know all of them off the top of that head, but the ones that keep coming on the list, and it does change, so definitely Google it, because it changes every year. But something that's always on there is strawberries, and you should never eat non-organic
Really?
strawberries. And it's because if you think about it, it's a soft fruit. It's grown
Uh-huh.
close to the ground, and it's
Yeah.
very susceptible to pesticides.
Ah, yeah, of course. So it's mostly like the fruit and veg that are close to the earth then. So the root vegetables and things like this.
Yes, potatoes are another one that are very
And you
common.
mentioned that you were brought up on potatoes, right?
Of course I did. I'm from the Midwest. A little bit of my history there is through this process is not only have I learned how to eat better, but I learned that corn and potatoes are not a vegetable. The middle of the US, that's a normal vegetable at the dinner table and you eat it every day.
Yeah, my dad won't believe it. He's from an Irish family. Like, he'll never believe it. He says he has so many vegetables. He literally lives off potatoes.
They're not the worst thing in the bucket for you. They're definitely not the healthiest thing either.
So what is the test that they do for leaky gut?
So they did a blood work test and they look for precursors in your blood, and a lot of that is they want to rule out everything. So they test your LDL, your HDL, and those common things too. But then they also test your hormone panel to see where it's at. And they test things like how much plaque is in your blood to rule out heart disease and so on and so forth. After they have that kind of blood work back and they see where they think they have the levels that you have leaky gut, then they send you in for actually food allergy testing. Because believe it or not, once you have leaky gut, food becomes more poisonous to your body. And so even good foods that you think are doing good. So leading up to going to the doctor and learning about my condition, I had already started eating healthy and changing my diet. And I had been eating organic foods and buying my grass-fed beef and
it makes so much more sense why we should do that.
Right.
It's not just a fad, like everybody eat organic.
No, it is not a fad. It's really important to our dental health. So I go to this doctor and he tests me for my food sensitivities, and I have over 30 foods that I'm reacting to. And they're foods that I eat as part of a healthy diet. It was zucchini, it was grapes and chicken and eggs and those things that broccoli, the things that you want to eat in a well-rounded meal. The good news is for me, I didn't have any allergies. For my daughter, she has high sensitivities to dairy and gluten, which we could get into that. You never want to eat that stuff really anyway. But what I learned is that if I take those things out of my diet, it gives my body a chance to heal and repair. And once it learns to heal and repair, you can add foods like that back in and see if your body can take it, because now it has the strength to process it.
Yeah, it's not as though it's a strict diet for the rest of your life. It's just that when you're needing the time to heal, to support your body.
Exactly. And for me, that was a 6-month detox where I had to eliminate these. And it wasn't only about the foods that I was sensitive to. We also have foods in our diet normally that are natural inflammatory foods. And I'm going to say some foods that people are going to be controversial about and be upset. I will say,
tell us.
I get you, because if you don't, I'm first generation Finnish American, which means my dad is Finnish and we love coffee. Coffee is a no-no.
I have just done my recent post on caffeine. We are having, in the women's circle that I have on Facebook, we are doing a month free caffeine, no caffeine for 1 month. No caffeine 1 month.
And it is so good for you. And the only caffeine that you really could take into your body that is healthy is from green teas, all natural green teas. And that one is I learned that coffee tends to be grown with a lot of pesticides, and it's not very well regulated. So it's hard to find a good coffee regardless, let alone the impacts of the caffeine on your body, right? Because that does rate your heart rate and so on and so forth. And
it makes you feel internally stressed.
And if you have anxiety and depression, it can be extremely harmful for those as well, because it just layers on top of those symptoms.
Yeah.
And then
And isn't decaf the same? When you have decaf, it's extracted with a chemical, right?
yes, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Let's just put that in our body as well.
Then there was not eating any wheat, and it was learning that wheat has been, like you said, talk about GMOs and ultra processed food. The wheat grain that we eat today is vastly different from the wheat grain that we were eating 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And our bodies have a hard time digesting it. So those are things that I don't eat anymore, because it's your body just can't process it. And dairy from cows. My functional medicine doctor would tell you that people are not meant to eat milk from another animal. But in moderation, it can be okay, but it's just being aware of the impact it has on your body. And I know for me, it doesn't always sit well, and I have to keep it out. It's not that I have a sensitivity or an allergy, but it's paying attention to, do I have energy? Does this food fuel me? And it's learning what food fuel me, because if it makes me feel sick, or like I have to run to the bathroom, or I'm tired and I need a nap afterwards, then that food isn't serving my body. And all of us are unique individuals throughout this, and everybody has a different map on what works for them. And I know with my genetics and my history that these are things that are common in my family that are inflammatories, and it makes sense that they're inflammatories for me and they're inflammatories for my daughter.
Yeah, it does make sense. So was there anything else that helped you with this? Like I know you changed a lot with your diet, but what about, does exercise have an influence? And I know you touched on stress as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say before I found my functional medicine doctor, and I was looking for a solution anywhere I could find a solution, and I was willing to listen to anybody, I had been trying to exercise to no avail for years. I had been a runner, I was doing 5Ks, and I was trying all sorts of HIIT classes, and if you're that person that stays chunky after that, that was me. I was doing all of that and still at the weight I was when I delivered my daughters. So if that tells you. So while I needed to do exercise, it was really hard to do exercise. But that's when I found Beachbody, and I didn't want to like it. I really didn't want to like it. I wanted to have a reason to hate it. But I drank their shakes and I started their workouts. And what I found is that their shake that they make, it's made with things that we don't normally get in our diet, things like spirulina and ashwagandha and kamakau. And those were the things that my body needed. So after a month of drinking it, all of a sudden I had no more sugar and salt cravings. They were gone.
Really?
And when you have hormone dysfunction, those are very common cravings.
Yes, yeah.
And then I also had energy to do things that I didn't have energy to do before. And I was able to do their workouts with consistency and drink the shake. And I did that for a year before I hit another plateau. So during that time, I lost about 10 to 15 pounds and several inches, but I was still plateauing because of the inflammation in my body.
Yeah. And you had more energy as well?
I still had more energy. And
Sex drive went up?
Yeah. Well, a little bit. I didn't have enough testosterone yet for that. So, well, the shake was awesome for giving me energy in a food way and to just get through my day. My hormones were still off, right? And it doesn't cure the hormones. So that's where the functional medicine doctor came in with it. And that's what I believe that people need to have that balance of, you need to do the right things in your life, but you need a partner along the way too. And I think functional medicine has been that partner for me. And you need a community of support. And that's what Beachbody gave me. So not only did they give me this wonderful product that was making me feel better, but they also gave me a community so that when I hit those lows and I was feeling really down because I wasn't making progress as quickly as those around me, that they were there to help support me and cheer me on and keep me motivated.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And now you coach people, right?
I do. I love coaching people. So this has been a big gift because if you look at this journey as I'm talking about it, it sounds like, well, that was just over a few years, guys. This has been a 14-year journey.
Wow.
So, and it's only taken the last 5 years for me to really understand what's been going on. And so when I started learning and really understanding what was helping me, I couldn't wait to share it with people. Because I see it. I see my friends and I see my family and I see that they're struggling and, they're in this routine, and I call it, you just like let life happen to you instead of living the life you want. And it's like, I want people to live the life they want. Like I'm doing this now and I'm feeling my body now because I'm going to climb the mountains when I'm 80 years old. That's what I love to do. And I want people to be able to have that drive, that passion to climb their mountain and have that energy to play with their kids and their grandkids. And life is a gift. And we don't have to feel bad. We have the right and the ability to feel good if we just learn about our bodies.
Yeah, I can just see your passion radiating.
No, I do. I love this. And sometimes I want to shake and yell at people and I can't do that either, but it's just like, I want to say it's so much better. And I'm not perfect and I'm still working on myself and I'm still learning. But if I knew what I know now 20 years ago, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I would have spent so much less time on the couch. And it's not because I didn't, lack of want. I just didn't have the energy, right?
Yeah, like the knowledge and the passion to do something. It's like you need a little bit of motivation, which is what you found in your community. It gives you that kickstart, makes you feel held. And then you had the knowledge behind that, so you could move forward.
Exactly. And that's what it is. And that's why I love sharing this story too, because sometimes I think people may hear, like I heard for a lot of my life, that this is normal. This is your normal. And I think it's
so tired of that.
I know. And I think it's up to us to define our normal. Like we have a choice to say, this is not a normal I'm willing to accept.
Yeah. If we feel shitty, that is not a normal.
Exactly. So I want people to have hope that they can get past that and they can grow and it really comes down to simple things in life, and it's finding your community, moving your body and fueling it the way that it needs to be fueled to be.
It's that internal peace and happiness, not from what we see in social media and what they're all trying to sell us, to say this is how you're going to be happy, to look like this, to buy this, to wear that, you're going to be happy. Like, it's what you feel on the inside that really matters. And your story is a perfect example of how you can do all these things outside, but it's actually, if you feel this dullness, if you know something's not right, then listen to your body.
Exactly. And I can tell you, after spending probably thousands of dollars on different clothes, it doesn't make you feel happy.
It feeds that shocking addiction for like 1 second.
It does. It so does. But at the same time, this does feel good. And for the first time in probably my entire life, I feel really good. And if I go back and I think about it, I actually should probably share a little bit more, because it probably started when I was in puberty and I didn't realize it. And how that started was before my monthly cycle, I'd get these massive sugar cravings and I would just stuff my face with all this sugar and I would get violently ill. I would have cold sweats and I would be sick. And I was told that that was my life. My mom had it, her family had it, and that's how life was. And it's so, it's what you accept is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And I haven't had that in 2 years.
What's that, sorry?
I haven't had those symptoms in 2 years since I've.
That's incredible. Congratulations.
No, and it's like 20 years of, I don't know, I'm not going to say how old I am. A lot of years of living like that.
And also I was looking at your Instagram, because that's how I connected to you, was on your Instagram, and you have pictures from before and after, and you're showing like your experience and the things that you're doing along the way. And I think that's really inspirational, because even though we're working on our inside, it obviously shows on the outside what's happening. And I noticed this a lot when I went on a detox, and I noticed that my face wasn't carrying as much fluid. Like, I didn't physically feel like I'd lost any fat, but my face was carrying so much fluid. And I look at the pictures and I can see the difference now from just changing my diet.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah. You think that I was like, that is my face shape. Like my face is like that forever.
It's incredible. And I wish I could share my daughter's pictures too, because just getting inflammation out of her body, she lost 30 pounds.
Wow.
She's 15. I didn't think she had 30 to lose, but it is totally with food inflammation and sensitivities that we just carry that with us. And
I think that's a surprise to everyone how young it can start, especially now, because I think children are being fed exactly as adults are, and if we don't have the education, then obviously it's going to start at a young age.
Exactly. And it's as great as my transition pictures are in terms of like the weight loss and that, I mean, losing, I think it's over 30 pounds and 20 inches in 2 years is a big loss.
Wow.
I wish I could share how I feel on the inside, because I think that's the most important part of it, is that for the first time in a long time, I feel loved. I have pride in myself, and I feel good about what I've accomplished. Even in a year from where I was last year, there's mountain trails that I do that I can just run up them a little bit faster, and it's just these little wins, and I know it's due to the nutrition and the exercise and just learning how my body operated.
Yeah. And I think anybody watching this or listening to this will be able to sense your energy and your passion. And you know, you said like it's really hard to show you what's happening on the inside, but we can hear it and we can see it. And that's the inspiration.
And it's keep going, right? And things are going to change, because I'm not going to lie, ladies, I went to the doctor to get more blood work because I was feeling that offness again, where I just was having a few days here and there of low energy. So I went to my functional medicine doctor and I said, you need to run my blood again. And he goes, it's time. And I said, okay. And we ran the hormone panel and he goes, you're in perimenopause. And I said, I don't like you anymore. So our bodies change too as we get older, and it requires a different approach, right? So now I do have to add in a supplement that does help with the hormones.
That's a really good point. Like, how can we stick to one diet? Because as we change, our bodies change, we need to be constantly aware of it and loving it and giving it what it needs.
Exactly. And it evolves as we evolve, and it evolves as our environment evolves too, right?
Yeah.
I find it fascinating. I find it interesting, and I just love learning about it. And I try to educate myself more and more all the time, because I feel like it's such a gift to have this knowledge now and to know what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, and now it's incredible because you have all that, you're still on your journey, but you're able to share this with your clients as well and your followers. And I would just say to anyone listening to this or watching this, you need to go and check Erika's page out on Instagram. Are you on any other platforms? Are you on Facebook, or do you have a website?
I have Instagram as my primary, and then I also do Facebook. So you can find me on Instagram. It's Ms. Erika Wald, all one word. And then my Facebook is just Erika Wald.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for speaking to us and sharing your wisdom and your experiences. It was really incredible to share this space with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really, I feel so lucky that I get to connect with some amazing people like you that are interested in learning about this too. So I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Erika. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Women's Circle. I just want to remind you that this information is not intended to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. But if you want to stay in touch in the meantime, please find me on my social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, or email me directly. My email is santeyoga@aol.com. I look forward to connecting to you more in the future. Until then, I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.